I'll call my heart so full that I'm devoted myself to the night. There's no motive. We're just listening. We're existing. We stay when the music plays, but let's stop below and the people sway. organize, make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in slow, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lights, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Who alive can't put me in a box. I redefine any definition. Okay, hi everybody. Can you guys hear me? Just to do some mic check. Okay, Genztechies HackFest 2023. I guess we're live. Let me just confirm. Can someone confirm we're live? Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. All right. Hi everybody. Welcome to the second iteration of Genztechies HackFest. And this is the hackathon session, which is totally virtual, and with some of our hybrid components via our partners. Thank you guys for joining the stream. So we're just going to get started, and I would be going on now. Just a sec. It's a minor technical glitch here. Yep, I was muted. Okay, that's fine. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Eniola Sabia. I am the founder of Genztechies and a software engineer by profession. And today we're here for the Genztechies HackFest 2023 opening ceremony. It's good to have everybody here. Anywhere in the world, you're watching this forum or you're participating in the hackathon, Please drop a comment. And we would like to, just drop a comment or message or whatever in the live chat on YouTube, and we'd like to engage with you. Okay, so I'll just get started. So I'm going to talk about a bit of what Genztechies is about, and yeah, that would probably just be my stuff for today. And so, of course, if this is your first time hearing about the community or just being part of the community or anything about Genztechies, I'll say Genztechies is one of the most exciting uh, Gen Z community for developers, designers, students in tech across Nigeria or Africa. Okay. And we are here today for the Gen Z HackFest, which is one of our flagship events, which is a conference and a hackathon to essentially get more people to participate and enlighten them about like the happenings of tech around them. And yeah, that's why we're here today. So this is just for first timers. And of course, if you're a recurring, one of the members, it's great to have you here. Sure, you already know what the community is about, but yeah, I'll just go over it all over once again. All right. And then just to talk about what Genztechies is about. So Genztechies is a community whereby Gen Zs, developers, founders, designers, and techies, across Africa connect to learn and discover like opportunities. And our mission as a team is to, at the top of it, connect Gen Zs together and be able and enable them to have access to like entrepreneurship. We want to also make entrepreneurship more accessible to them, right? And we do this like via multiple initiatives, which Gen Z Access is one of them. We also have the Gen Z Affects is one of them, and we also have other initiatives we run, things like office stores, our AMA sessions, and our like open source, project building, where we build projects like Gen Z Meet, and some other fun stuffs. Okay, so that's like a brief summary of Gen Z techies, but I would pass it on to the next member of the team to do some more interesting welcoming, and yeah, I hope you guys have a great time and happy hacking.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, the phenomenal.
Okay, good. Yeah. Welcome to Gen Z HackFest 2023. I mean, the last time we were in such a call like this was last year. And if you were there, you would know that it was a really, really fun event and it was very engaging. So we're back again this year with the Gen Z HackFest. Like we mentioned in the Twitter space we hosted last weekend, we just like want everyone to have fun. Hackathons are fun, even though you do technical stuff. We want you to have fun, expand your network, connect, and build something that you're passionate about. And you should also solve a problem. It should not just be a building random stuff. Although, yeah, we're all building random stuff, but they should have purpose. So maybe, for example, you want to be like some of the guys that got their products acquired, or some of the people that went on to convert the hackathon projects into startups. And funny enough, most of the products we use today, they were incubated at hackathons or core features we added at hackathons. For example, oh, I just realized my video is off. Apologies. And the thing is, my video quality is not the best right now, but I'll just try to turn it on. Yeah, so like I mentioned, some of the products we use today, they were incubated at hackathons. For example, Slack made a major update to their product at an hackathon. Microsoft Teams, most of these things, they were like built upon at hackathons. And some of the best tech companies, they do internal hackathons. For example, you see the way Vercel, Replit, those guys are shipping like crazy. It is through the power of hackathons. So I just hope everyone will have fun within these few days of building. That's all for now. So I'll pass it on to the next teammate to talk about any other thing.
Hi everyone. Good day. My name is Adetunji Adeyinka. I'm basically here to give the main purpose of the hackathon. Okay. Yeah. So basically, welcome to an incredible journey. We're doing the second iteration of the annual Gen Z HackFest hackathon, centered around the theme "Innovation Without Boundaries." I'm excited. The team is excited to see your eager faces, asking questions, and you're all ready to dive in to build something creative that would solve and change the power of millions of people. Um, okay, so the essence of innovation is basically what do you call it again? Okay, you have to actually think about it. What if we could bring education into every corner? Ensure healthcare access even in the most remote areas. We have villages, we have cities, we have rural areas, we have villages, we have very secluded places in Africa that many people do not actually have access to tech and many solutions. So, and how can we actually use technology to uplift those people living in those areas as well? So this is the essence of innovation, and it's precisely what we are aiming to harness. Remember, this hackathon is actually not just about writing code, as many people believe. It's basically making an impact. It's basically uplifting people and making a difference in their lives. Okay. You should have this mentality that each line of code you write is essentially to reshape lives. Okay. The purpose of the hackathon, Innovation Without Boundaries, is to empower the Gen Z tech community to channel their creativity and expertise into addressing pressing challenges across Africa by constructing inventive solutions that transcend traditional limits. Our participants are determined to confront real world issues faced on the continent. All right. The event also serves to cultivate a culture of innovation, collaboration, and technological advancement. The main aim where we have this hackathon is for people to come together, pull ideas from different perspectives, and build a working solution that would benefit people. Because um, going by the words of Plato, the word of a man is actually what he does with his power. So that should be that should be our end goal. Yeah. So the main intent is actually to effect tangible and meaningful change in people's lives. So yeah, you can get your team together, or some people actually going solo, innovate, collaborate, create change, and I don't know you're ready to make a difference. So let's do this. Yeah. I'll be passing along to Usman to explain. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Can anybody hear me? Someone just confirm.
Claire,
Okay, so hi, everyone. How are we doing? I am Usman Hassan, tech lead at Genztechies. I'm so excited to be here today. I hope you guys are excited as well. Surprisingly, I was a participant in last year's hackathon, so I should know how excited everyone must be participating this year. So the next agenda will be on the hackathon's rules and regulation. And also, we are going to talk about the judging criteria and the scoring rubric. So in case you miss anything on this session, you can always go back to your hackathon guide or ask your question during the FAQ session. So let's get started. Okay, so the code of conduct, or generally the guidelines for this hackathon, are as follows. You should keep all communication and content safe for work. That is, there should be no 18 plus rated content or anything that's considered abusive or inappropriate. And also, there's no bullying or any form of harassment, and hate speech is not allowed. And no insulting, demeaning, hateful, or threatening remarks. And the next is discussing sensitive topics like religious, civic, or health is highly discouraged. No doxing, search for and publish private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet with a negative or malicious intent. And there's no sending of malicious links or viruses. And refrain from using any language other than English. And also followed by functionality and user experience, and also the presentation. So the first criteria, which is innovation. Let's talk about innovation. So innovation deals with how creative and unique your solution leverage on technology to solve the problems. And then we also have impact, which is how effectively does your solution address the identified problem and create a positive impact in the chosen industry. Then we have functionality. Does the project in its current state fulfill its intended purpose and provide expected functionality without major hindrances or critical issues? That means your project has to be functional. It has to be an MVP. It has to provide at least a minimum viable solution to what you intended to build. And then we have user experience. Okay, how easy it is to use and understand your solution. And the last but not the least is presentation. How well do you pitch and showcase your solution, including the problem statement and the approach. Okay, so these are the judging criteria. And the next we have the scoring rubric. So the scoring rubric are basically based on the judging criteria. So we'll have points from 1 to 10, and all these points will be allocated based on how well your project do on the judging criteria. So that's all from me, and happy hacking, everyone. So we should have a workshop ready, and we'll let you know once the workshop will be starting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Usman, for quickly explaining the hackathon guide, judging criteria, and a couple of other things. So I think the next thing will be for me to talk about the prizes for the hackathon. So for the Gen Z HackFest, we have over 1 million worth of prizes, which is like a combination of cash and in kind. So for the first position, you get 250K and 250 the sell credits. The second position, you can also see that on my screen. And we also have some side projects, some hackathon tracks that you get the cash prizes for. For example, I think Paystack is having the hackathon track, and there's also that of Tunji, please can you scroll down a little bit so I can. There's also Chi Money. They have lots of giveaways and an hackathon track for developers to build with their APIs and all. And yeah, that's basically it for the prizes. And like I mentioned in the Twitter space we hosted this last weekend, there's lots of giveaways from tickets for the conference to other things. There's a lot of things to be given away by the sponsors, the organizers, and more. And like Chimon is a fintech company. They already told us that they have lots of giveaways to do, and we are really looking forward to it. And I don't really know any if you'd like to share anything before we start the workshop with Zach Latta.
Particularly on my end, I do not have anything to share right now, but maybe like towards the end of everything, I'll just give like some advices and tips to participants.
Okay, so I think we can just quickly take questions for now, and maybe we'll go on and yeah, let's take questions for now. So guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions because we're starting a workshop soon, and I would announce the workshop right now. So if you have any questions, type your questions in the chat, in the live chat, and someone will try to respond live.
You are life can't put me in a box. I redefine any definition you got. I am the tiger, I'm making steps to the top. The flames, I'll rip it up, you just gotta hand me the rock. Take a seat, you cannot stand it. All I know the flow harder than a scotch bunny. Don't try studying me, you cannot manage. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm
Okay, I guess we have a question on our end. So someone asked, when are submissions due and how are we going about submitting? Then we also have another question saying, can you explain the timeline, please? Is another question that says, must the project include both Paystack and Chi Money? So Usman, would you like to take this question?
Yeah. Okay. So question reads: must the project include both Paystack and Chimoni? No, actually, not entirely. You can either choose Paystack or Chimoni, or you can work on both. It's actually up to you. Or you can choose not to take anyone. It's actually completely up to you.
Yeah. However, just to like reiterate on that, is that
Mhm.
building on these tracks have like custom, prices. So the best projects, built with any of the companies, Paystack,
Yeah.
Chimoni, they would win a prize separate from like the first top three pricing for winners. Okay, so yeah, it's very highly encouraged that one part of your project incorporates either of them, whether it's Paystack, whether it's Gmoney, or again, you can decide to use both, but it is not a requirement.
And also to clear some things, you can go through your Hackathon guide. All this information are available there.
Yep. Then the other question is, when are submissions due and how are we going about submissions? Do you want to take
Okay,
that?
so submission are due on the 23rd, and then we'll review the submission on 24th. But all this will be passed to you. All this information will be passed to you before the submission deadline.
Okay,
Okay,
to add to what the link will be
just
sent
before
more
we have
early.
the workshop, at Tunjik, I think that was your part. Do you want to talk about like the audit stage and how project submissions will work? Because I think that's where like a bunch of questions are coming up for.
Okay, so yes, so yeah, we'll be also be having an FAQ session tomorrow, so we can also answer more questions on this. So won't take your time today. A submission link will be dropped latest by tomorrow. You all have it, so you can start submitting as early as you want. Yeah, then there will be an audit stage, so an email will also be sent to you as well, so we can sort out. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Tunji. And then the other question we have was, when are submissions due and how do we go about submitting? Okay, I think we've cleared out all the questions. So we would be having the workshop get started shortly, I believe.
There's a question. There's one more question. Someone asked, how is the call going to be done for the presentation? Okay. According to the hackathon guide, is actually there. For presentation, you actually be given a total of I believe it's 3 minutes. I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
3 to 4 minutes to be
Yeah,
precise.
3 to 4 minutes.
Between
3 to 4 minutes. You'll be given 3 to 4 minutes to present. You'll be asked to demo your live project, send a live link or application or in any of them, depending on what you actually build. Yeah, so we'll have a call on, I believe it will be on Thursday. So hi, Zach Latta. We're
Hey
having a
everybody,
call.
how are you?
Yeah, hi. We're having a call on Thursday, so
Yo, I think Zach just joined.
yeah.
Hey Zach.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, so everyone, Zach is here. Zach, would you like to quickly just like give a quick intro of yourself and just like go straight to the intro to hackathons? Because like we don't really have much time, and people just like want to get started with building.
Yeah, totally. So should I jump right in?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Awesome. And then for the attendees, are they in this call or are they watching on a stream?
They're currently working on this stream.
Okay, awesome. Cool. And is there a way to see the chat from that stream?
Yeah, let me send you the link to this stream.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
link will be
Thank
dropped
you.
in the chat. Awesome.
Got it.
I just sent the link to the stream in the chat.
Fantastic. Cool. Well, I can jump in. By way of introduction, my name is Zach Latta. I'm the founder of an organization called Hack Club. We are a community of thousands of teenagers all over the US, all over the world, who all love computers and want to come together to code and make projects. And I thought that for this talk, I could start by sharing a little bit more about my own story, specifically my own story with hackathons. If you're watching this and you're participating in the hackathon, you're like in the best place ever. Hackathons completely changed my life. I hope they'll change yours. And I'm just so excited to have a chance to kind of share this moment with all of you. So my story and the way that my journey with coding began was when I was just growing up and I was 7. I played this game called Club Penguin. It was, I don't know if any of you have ever played Club Penguin before or seen it before. It's like this retro game where you're a penguin on a screen and you walk around in a world where you can like talk with other penguins who are also other kids your age. You can get a house, you can like buy items in the game, but like with coins you earn, there's like all these mini games. And I played that and I loved playing it. And I was thinking like, oh my God, like how does this game actually work? Like how can you make something that other people use? And eventually my friends and I decided we wanted to build a website about Club Penguin. The idea was that we had spent so much time playing that we figured out which specific mini games gave you the most points per minute when you played. And I volunteered myself to try and build the site. So that night I went on Google. I typed in, how do you build a website? I found a tutorial on HTML and I just completely fell in love because computers had always felt like these like magical boxes to me. And I never really realized that you could be more than just a consumer. Like when you use apps, when you download them, it kind of feels like everything that can be made has already been made. But as soon as you start to peek under the hood and you start coding, you realize that every game you've ever played, every app you've ever used, that's built by human beings who are no smarter than you or I. And that if you just spend the time to learn how to program, you can make things too. And you can be not just a consumer, but you can be a creator of computers. And that was like fundamental, like light bulb went off. I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. And as a kid and later as a teenager, as I was coding, I went to public schools in the United States that didn't have any computer classes. So it was always something that I would do when I'd go home, I'd go on the family computer, I'd try to spend all my free time learning how to make things. But I never really knew other people my age that shared that interest. And it wasn't until I was 14 and went to my first hackathon that I realized there's this incredible community of people my age and our ages who like love computers, love making things. A lot of them know like so much more about computers than I do. And there's a community that like I could be a part of. And the first thing I want to say is that by being a part of the hackathon this weekend, the first and foremost thing that you're doing is that you're joining a community. And hackathons it's never about the code you write. It's never about the project you build. It's about the people that you meet, the people that you spend time with, and the people that you build friendships with. And actually just this past weekend, I went to an event in New York City And I saw a friend from that very first hackathon that I haven't seen in 10 years. And we were just catching up. And and when I think back to that first event, again, like the code that we wrote was fun, and it was fun coming with the project idea, but really it was that time with the people that was a thing that carried with me. Later, just by way of background for myself, when I was 16, I started an organization, the one that I run now, called Hack Club. We run tons of hackathons all across the US and provide a lot of support for people who want to run their own hackathons. We're starting to expand the support internationally. So now across Africa, if you want to run a hackathon, we have a lot of support to help you do that. You can see all the resources on hackclub.com. There's like an amazing, vibrant chat community that you can join called the Hack Club Slack. There's tons of like opportunities and events and like things happening online. One thing that I'll dump in the chat here, should I put the chat in the YouTube or in the Jitsi meet that we're in right now?
In the YouTube.
Okay, in the YouTube. All right. Subscribers only mode. Subscribed. Oh, it says I can't send a message. Maybe someone could repeat it, but like copy it over there. But one example of one of the cool things happening at Hack Club right now is that if you want to learn how to make your own circuit board, you can do that now. Like it's gotten so much cheaper to make your own circuit boards, like those like green boards that are in our phones from scratch on your own. If you go to that URL, it's called Hack Club Onboard. There's a bunch of tutorials that people in the Hack Club community have made to walk you through step-by-step building your own like electronic business card from scratch or building your own mechanical keyboard from scratch. And if you design your own board and you submit it to GitHub, where we have an open gallery, we'll pay the first $100 in manufacturing costs for you. And that's enough to get like 5 iterations of your board made. So you can like design it, follow a tutorial, and actually have like, I don't have one on my desk right now, but you can have like a physical board that you made from scratch on your own in your hands like 2 weeks later. It's amazing. And actually, Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, just endorsed it, which is like such an incredibly cool thing to happen. All that is to say, I was thinking about, I hate to do things like give advice because I think everyone, has their own journey. At the end of the day, for everyone listening, like, what's going to make the most sense for you at the end of the day. But I was thinking, what is the advice that I wish I had when I went to my first hackathon? And as I went to more hackathons after that too. And when I thought about it, it really came down to 3 things. The first is talk to someone that you don't know. Don't just talk with a friend that you came with. Like, talk to someone that you see like either in person or on Discord or like someone else that, like, even if you don't know anything about them, say hi, introduce yourself. That might just be the beginning of a friendship that will last a lifetime. The second is try a new programming language or try a new piece of technology. If you've never built a website before, build your first website and like really push yourself to actually do it and like ship something that you're proud of. If you're someone where you're like, I'm an expert at coding, I know all about what I'm doing, like, try a new language or try a new technology stack. Hackathons are the best place to kind of push yourself from a technical level. And then third, think about how you can bring the magic that you experienced this weekend back to your own community afterwards. What would it look like for you to start a hackathon in a few months from now? And if that's a path that you ever wanted to go down because you were inspired from this event, Hack Club has a ton of resources to help you get started. If you go to hackclub.com/hackathons. So with this, I know the organizing team asked me to do like an AMA style talk. So I'm happy to take questions and we can go as short or as long. I don't want to, I know like the worst thing ever is an opening ceremony that runs forever. So if you want to just cut me off, I can get cut off, but I'm happy to, have some discussion, go back and forth, however is most helpful. Thank you all so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, Zach. Okay, we have some questions. I think the first question is on YouTube. It says, this is my first hackathon and would love to ask, what if we don't own the necessary skills to implement the features or your ideas?
Do a different project. Do a project that you feel like you can implement. And if you have an idea for something big and beautiful, that's great. but I would change it to be something where you're like, I feel like I could follow some tutorials to figure out how to do that. I think one trap that some teams run into is they try and make their first project the project that does everything. Okay, we're going to build a website and it's going to have login and it's going to have all these features and there's going to be like all these different aspects to what we're doing and it's going to be comprehensive. But notice the first part of the word hackathon, hack. Your project doesn't have to be perfect. Like pick one thing, pick one small thing and figure out how to just do that one thing, no matter like how small in scope it might be. One of my favorite hackathons that I've ever been to was called the Stupid Hackathon. It was based in San Francisco, and the organizers got on stage and said, "Okay, everybody, thank you all so much for being here. Your job is to build stupid projects." And we were like, "What does that mean?" And what we did was I had never done a hardware project before. I've always only ever coded. The idea of like doing something with electronics where you're like taking a computer apart or like rewiring some things or using a soldering iron was totally intimidating to me. And I decided that like if there's one thing I wanted to learn this weekend, I just wanted to do something with hardware, no matter how small that might be. And what we decided to do was our idea was, when you're doing electronics, if you mess up, sometimes like you break a part or like there's consequences. You might like accidentally shock yourself a little bit, or maybe you'll like burn yourself with a soldering iron. And we thought, when you code on a computer, coding isn't very like, if you mess up, like it just says compile error. And like, yeah, on the inside, you might be like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. But nothing really happens to the computer. So what the project was we built a laptop that if you code on it and your code is wrong and you get a compile error, the laptop explodes, like physically explodes. Like we bought 2,000 matches and we cut off all the tips of the matches and then we poured lighter fluid all over them. And what we did was we made a little Arduino that could just create a spark to cause a laptop to explode. There's a GIF somewhere of it on the Hack Club Slack. But, when we started that project, we were like, okay, like we're going to have a whole website that you can go to. And we're going to have like a beautiful web editor that you can go to. And then we're going to like have a thing where like the first time you make a mistake, it doesn't do anything. But the second time you make a mistake, it does something small. But then the third time you make a mistake, the laptop blows up. And we couldn't ultimately do any of that. So we said, what's like the one thing we want to try that's new? And for us, it was like doing something with hardware.
Yeah, that's crazy. Making laptops explode.
Yeah, I'll if you ping me, I can find the GIF somewhere. But there's like it's really an incredible GIF, and the explosion is like big, like it's like 4 feet, like it's like this big.
Wow. Okay, that sounds fun and dangerous, very dangerous. But yeah, that's fine. I think that's like the only question we have right now. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. It was really great to have you come, motivate the guys participating in the hackathon, just to build. I think here in Africa, we're still really trying to, build a hackathon culture. And we obviously have a lot of, startup kind of related hackathon. But yeah, just, giving that builder nature of shipping out stuff, doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, we are just also trying to, bring that spirit a lot more to the ecosystem here. But yeah, thanks once again for joining, Zach. It was great to have you. And
I think Zach still has a lot of things to say because like Zach likes to say a lot about hackathons and the whole hacking thing. Zach, if you'd like to continue, we're more than happy to continue because like I'm really enjoying everything.
Oh, I mean, I'm totally happy to use this time, however is most helpful. I think just the last thing I would add, I totally agree with what you said. And, I think one thing with a lot of events is sometimes they try to make hackathons both about having fun and learning and being professional. And I feel like you kind of have to pick two of the three. It's kind of, you can't really get all three. And at least in the US where, here we've had hackathons for like 10 years. Before that, they weren't really a thing. They kind of started 10 years ago. Now, we've seen kind of an ecosystem develop. There's a couple hundred that happen each year and it's amazing. But one thing that we've been trying to figure out in the US is like how professional should events be and how much about having fun and learning should they be? And my perspective is hackathons should be 100% about having fun and learning. Like, don't think about building your resume. Think about trying a new programming language and going really deep with it. Because at the end of the day, like if you love computers and you're building projects that you get a lot of joy out of and you're meeting other people who feel the same, that is going to help you so much more professionally than anything else you could possibly be spending your time on. And I would just encourage everyone who's participating, like really build something and ship it. Like build your first website, like build your first thing. Like don't make a slideshow presentation on how like your project is going to change your world. Lean into the hack side of it. You know, make a hack that's like fun and like interesting and quirky or weird, whatever that might be. And you know, that's why I love hackathons.
Awesome. Thanks for that masterpiece. Okay. I don't know if we still have questions coming in from YouTube. No question. Yep. No question. Okay. Anyone from the team as well? Do they have any questions for Zach?
Yeah, I'll have one actually.
Yep.
I have one actually. So yeah, Zach, I do want to use myself as an example because when I started, I was in this tutorial hell. You know what they call tutorial hell, whereby you can't build a project without using the tutorial. So how I do believe that it was actually my first job that made me leave that, because it made me it made me get to do things I would never do without using a tutorial. So do you have any advice? Because I don't really know what advice to give people on that, because many people actually do face that.
Yeah, 100%. We at Hack Club, we call that period the valley of sadness, where you like if you think about like this is happiness and this is like time, like you build your first project ever, like maybe you get a personal website online, or like you write your first line of HTML and you see that text appear on the page and you're like, oh my God, like this is amazing, like computers are magic. And then as soon as you start learning JavaScript or another programming language, and you start following tutorials and you keep following them, it feels like so incredibly challenging to like, how do I finally get to that stage where I'm going to be able to build the project ideas that I myself have? And we call that period, like oftentimes the journey maybe programmers, they start up and they're like, oh my God, I built my first website. And they're like, oh my God, I have to learn JavaScript. And then it's like a long period of time. And then finally get to the point where you can like start building your project ideas and then you're good. And then it's just like all like happy sailing from there. If you think about it like a graph, if that makes sense. My advice for people who are currently stuck at that like tutorial stage, I mean, first, if you're a programmer, you're going to feel that way for the rest of your life. That's just like how programming works. I've been programming like for over 10 years and I feel that way every day, all the time. The important thing is that you still keep writing code and that you don't stop. And I guarantee you that if you're at the stage where you're looking at lots of tutorials and you're like feeling overwhelmed, you're just like, as long as you're actually writing lines of code every day, like give it a little bit of time, like a month or two, I promise you'll get out of that stage. But my advice when you are there is to build complete projects. And I see a lot of people who will like start a tutorial and they'll do like the first 15 minutes of the tutorial, and then they'll get demotivated and then they'll like give up, and then they'll do another tutorial. They'll do the first 20 minutes of that tutorial and they'll get demotivated and give up. And then they'll like find some YouTube video that's like 8 hours long and they'll do the first 4 hours of that and they'll get demotivated and give up. The best thing you can do in that situation is find a high quality tutorial online that walks you step by step through how to build a real thing, whether it's like a real website or like a real Twitter thing. For me, the first tutorial that I followed that really got me over that hump was called Rails tutorial. In Rails tutorial, it's still around online. It's super good. If you want to learn Ruby on Rails, I highly recommend it. It totally changed my life. And I just posted the link in the Jitsi chat if someone wants to put that in the YouTube chat. And what's great about this one is it walks you through step by step how to build a clone of Twitter using Ruby on Rails, but the code is like high quality code. And I would recommend finding a tutorial kind of like that, where it's like, it's 8 hours long. You know that if you finish it, you will have built that thing. And you might not understand 90% of the code that you wrote, but you will have something working at the end, and do a few of those. I was stuck on Ruby on Rails for like 6 months when I got started. I was just like, I cannot figure this out. I'm like Googling things. There's all these like mini tutorials. Like I'm super confused by Stack Overflow. I'm trying to build my own projects. I'm like, this Rails scaffold stuff, like I really don't understand. And once I did Rails tutorial, I don't even think I finished it. I think I made it like 80% through or something. I was like, oh my God, like that is how you build a real app. Like that is how you build a real website. Like that is how you do login and authentication. And suddenly like the world felt like it opened up for me. So if you're at that stage, I would recommend finding equivalent resources and really committing to them. And actually, that's a great thing to do during a hackathon. Like Rails tutorial, you could probably get a lot of it done during a 24-hour event and build your own mini project by the end of it by just customizing the code in it. And that would be an amazing project and you would learn a ton.
Yeah, I just dropped one more question. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
No, check the chat on GT, please. Let me drop it in. Yeah.
I'm sorry, say again?
I just dropped the chat on GT. On GT. Check the chat on GT.
Okay, great. So the question is, would you say crypto is still a viable area to become a developer in? For me, the way I think about whether an area is viable or not is how many people use apps in that area. When you look at Ruby on Rails, every day, tens of millions of people use apps written in Ruby on Rails. When you look at JavaScript, every day, billions of people use apps written in JavaScript. When you look at things like Solidity or crypto, and you ask how many, like on a daily basis, how many people are actually using apps written in Solidity? I don't know. I'm not an expert, but like my impression is it's not that many. I think it's like 100 people. Like I know some people, I know there's like stuff that's like, you know, like the DeFi exchanges and whatnot. And I know there's like a lot of companies have a lot of money around crypto, but I have yet to ever meet a single person in real life who actually uses a real app written in crypto. And as a result, like I feel a little pessimistic about the idea of working as a developer in crypto right now, personally. Because of that. And if that were to change, I think I'd probably feel differently. But in my view, we've had, you know, multiple years now of a lot of hype around crypto. Tons of money has gone into like, we have this amazing technology. We have to figure out something useful for it. And still the primary use case, which is life-changing, seems to be just financial transactions between people. But like, who actually uses apps written in Solidity? Like, I don't know anybody who does. Like, maybe there's a prediction market, but like that's still very, very niche. So if you're someone thinking about crypto, I would really encourage you to start by learning JavaScript, because that's something that billions of people use, and the same skills you'll learn when you learn JavaScript are going to carry over if you ever want to be a crypto developer in the future. It's very transferable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's another question. The question is, I'm a front-end developer and someone told me there's less money in that field. The thing I'm passionate is front-end, UI, UX obsessed, and I'm UI, UX obsessed. What will you say on that? I think that if you're thinking about like salaries in terms of how you think about what you want to do in the future, like the difference between like how much a front-end developer makes and something else on average is like 20%. It's not like enormous. So honestly, in my view, the way to get great at anything is just to spend a lot of time on it. So if you're very excited about front end, I would go all in on front end. And here's the thing, like it used to be such where like 10 years ago, if you were learning front end was like pretty separate from back end, where it's like, oh, there's like the back end developer and there's a front developer. They don't really talk to each other. That's not really how it works anymore. Like front end developers are like real engineers that are doing like really deep coding, and they have to have a full understanding of the full system. And some of the most talented developers I know are front end engineers, and some of the hardest people to hire I know are front end engineers, because it's so hard to find someone who both really thinks through UI and UX and has those strong engineering chops. So if I were you, I would go all in on front-end engineering, because I think looking at the averages like that aren't super helpful when you're trying to decide what should you be pursuing. Because if you're passionate about something, you're going to be great at it if you pursue it. And also, like, if you think about the calculation of like, okay, like if the expected value, like if I work as a front-end engineer in the future, I might make $50,000. I mean, I only know US currencies. Like I might make $50,000 a year. And if I'm a backend developer, I might make $60,000 a year. So I would make 20% more if I were a backend developer. But the thing is like, if you went to try and be a backend developer, you probably wouldn't be a very good backend developer because you're actually passionate about front end. So like you're like, okay, well, a bad backend developer might make $45,000 a year, where an average front end developer makes $50,000, but a really good front end developer makes $100,000. So it's like you're probably way better off picking the thing that you're passionate about, as long as there's potential jobs for it, and there are tons of potential jobs for front end in the future. That's my take on that, at least. There's another question. And also the last thing I'd say is, if you're doing front-end development, like really like learn Next.js, like really learn React, like go deep with it. Cause like that's what the future of front-end is. The future of front-end is not like HTML and CSS where you're just like endlessly writing classes and styles and using frameworks. Like the future is like you're building a front-end architecture using Next and like React or whatever comes after Next, if that happens in the future. And that's like real engineering work. And it's a much harder, like it's a skill that will go much further too. There's another question of, do you think AI will take developers and designers' jobs? No, I don't think it will. I think the people who will most benefit from AI are developers and designers, because if you think about coding, what is coding? Well, in the 1970s, we were writing code in like much lower level languages than the languages that we use today. And if you think about coding today, we write code using these like really sophisticated, amazing programming languages. But the thing that's common between 1970 today and back when we were doing coding using punch cards, where we were like physically punching in holes into pieces of paper before we put them into the computer, the commonality between all of that is that the job of a coder is to solve problems using computers. And AI is like the greatest thing ever for that, because it now gives you so much power to solve problems using computers. So that's my take on that, at least. I use AI like almost every day in my work, and I feel so empowered because I have coding skills, because it lets me use APIs, lets me build little flows for myself. Like it's really, really, really empowering.
Yeah. Okay, Zach. I kind of like have a question, and it's kind of like directly related to Hack Club. So I see there have been efforts in the past to bring Hack Club to Africa. So I don't really know if you have anything to say concerning that, because like it doesn't look like that is like the plan anymore right now. I don't know if you sunsetted something like that. Can you just quickly talk about Hack Club in Africa, like the future of Hack Club?
Yeah, 100%. So first, like I think Africa is like one of the most exciting places in the world. I've had a chance to visit Kenya twice, and I've had a chance to visit Mozambique as well. I really want to go to Nigeria. I think Africa is like an incredible place where there's like incredibly interesting things happening. In particular, like I am so inspired by like the mobile money stuff that some countries have. Like M-Pesa in Kenya totally blew my mind. It's so much better than everything we have in the US. Like it's literally better than the US financial system. The way Hack Club works is Hack Club like isn't me and staff at Hack Club HQ who decide like, okay, like we're gonna put in more Hack Clubs in Nigeria now, and like that's the next target country. Like when we say Hack Club is a community, like Hack Club is like a community. I mean, like every person here, like it is your decision whether Hack Club is in Africa or not. Like I can't even do it if I wanted to. Like Hack Club gets to Africa by like individual African engineers saying, hey, like I want to start a Hack Club at my school, or like I want to run a hackathon with Hack Club after this event. I want to like get involved in the Hack Club community. Everything we do, as much as we can, is global. So like all of our grant programs are global. Hack Club Bank works globally to the best of our ability. The Slack is a global place. I mean, it's English speaking, but global place. And my hope and my dream would be for there to be an incredible, thriving community of Hack Clubs and Hack Clubbers all across the continent. And we have a couple like amazing people in Africa right now, and it's a small but growing community. One example of that is Josias Aral. Josias joined Hack Club HQ as an engineer. If you want to post his Twitter in the YouTube chat, he is an amazing programmer. He's based in Cameroon. He works for Hack Club HQ full time now as an engineer and has been involved in the Hack Club community for the past year or so. But like, I would love for there to be way more stuff in Hack Club happening in Africa. But like, that's on you, like, and everyone here. Like, we need a community of people to say like, hey, like, I want to be the difference. Like, I want to bring this to my place, to my town, to my school. But I think that would be amazing, and I really hope there can be more there. The last thing I'll say is, like, in the past, sometimes we have tried to do something where we're like, we have a staff member that tries to drum up interest in an area, and what we found is that it's not totally the right model, because Hack Club's grassroots. It needs to come from the bottom up, and that's where Hack Club's at its best as well.
Okay, great. I think that answers my question, and I don't really know if some of the guys have questions for you or relating to hackathons, but so far it's just really nice. Any, do you want to say something?
There are just two more questions that remain, actually. I believe there is, two more questions.
Yeah,
how-
we're a bit running into, like, having workshop opening ceremonies that never end.
Yeah, and I can stop at any time. So I know there's nothing worse than sitting through like a never-ending thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, this has been a really amazing session. So much of knowledge in so short time to give out. So yeah, it's been a lot. I also been able to, like, just do some reflection as well on my end, and yeah, really excited for the future. And yeah, thanks so much, Zach.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and like, really thank you to the entire organizing team for putting this event together. Like, it is so important and amazing that events like this are happening, and to everyone who's participating, like, hey, like, build something awesome this weekend, and like, thank you for being here. You're in like the best place you could ever be in. The last thing I just want to say is, this is my email. Anyone who wants to, like, please feel free to reach out to me. I do my best to be really responsive and to like be available. Inevitably, I like never reach that ideal, but if you want to send me a note, I would love to do my best to try and help further with anyone on the organizing team, or broadly, like more broadly in the community among attendees, to be helpful in any way that I can.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Zach. All right.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all so much for having me. Happy hacking.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we're going to the next thing on the list, which, one sec.
The workshop with Paystack, I think.
Yep. Do we have someone from the Paystack team on the call now?
I think Tolu just joined. Is it the Tolu of Genztechies or Tolu of Paystack?
Yeah, that's Tolu. That's some fun.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So Tunji will just give us some some music while we wait for Tolu. She'll join any sec from now.
I'm a fucking phenomenon.
Am I the one? I hope you told me that.
Okay. We have Tolu here now. Hi,
I thought I was
Tolu.
coming for a workshop, and I ended up in the club.
Nah.
Hey guys.
Okay, nice to have you. So, Difnona, do you want to do the introductions, and let's get to it?
Yeah, so hi Tolu, welcome to the open ceremony of the Gen Z HackFest 2023 Hackathon. And we just quickly want to have a workshop with Paystack, and hopefully it would find a way to send this to some of the attendees. So we have like timestamps, because like not all of them are currently watching live. Yeah, so Tolu, if you can quickly just like give a quick introduction of yourself, Paystack, and just like get started with the workshop.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Sorry I joined about a minute late. I thought it was on Zoom, and then I realized it was not on Zoom, and so I was scrambling to find the link. I'm so used to all my calls being on Zoom. But yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for making out this time. Sorry that we couldn't do this earlier. I know there was a scramble to get things done at the right time. But glad to be here. Glad to talk to you guys. My name is Tolu. I lead the developer relations team at Paystack. So we're pretty much responsible for developer engagement, developer education, developer support, anything developer focused really. My team handles. We were, very pleased to have some of the community at our office. Sometime actually, it was in August of last year, so probably almost a year
Yeah, it
to
was around this period
yeah,
last year.
around this time. Yeah, you guys came over. We had a good time in the office, and yeah, we're excited to be involved with the community again. Very, very pleased that doing this. I figured that for this session, I'll just essentially give a run through of the Paystack APIs and tools that you'll basically be able to use to build with. I suppose I should also do, in case anybody doesn't know Paystack, just a quick Paystack intro. We are a fintech now live in Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. Kenya coming very, very, very soon. By the end of this month, I believe we should be making some noise about that. And yeah, we offer APIs to companies and developers who are trying to integrate payments and payouts into their products, into their websites. The mission is to fix payments in Africa. Shola always says the way he feels payments is broken. And his mission, the reason he started the company was because he wants to try and fix payments across Africa, make it easy for anybody to have an idea and start monetizing it, right? Put up your website, easily start accepting payments. Because before he started Paystack, it was a very involved process. You have to go and find somebody who can integrate InterSwitch's API, and it will charge you like 150K, which I guess is not as much money now, but you can imagine how much money it would have been about 10 years ago or so. And so, yeah, Paystack just makes it easy for you to get paid regardless of where you are and accept payments from people all across the world. So that's the mission that we are bringing to fruition at Paystack. And like I said, I'm excited to share that with you guys. So I have a slideshow that my teammate Andrew put together. He was originally going to be here, but he had to take today off. So I'll be going through everything myself. So let me share my screen. Where's the share screen button? I'm not used to this interface.
The third one.
Third one. Gotcha. Thank you. All right. Okay. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right one. Okay, great. All right, you can see my screen, yeah? So, yeah, you can see it even has Andrew's name on here. I didn't even bother changing that. I said, let me give him his credits and not make it seem like I'm the one that did the work of putting this together. But yeah, this is a picture from last year when the community came over. You can see me in the bottom right over here. I look very different now. I decided on a new hairstyle for 2023. And yeah, this is what we'll be going through very quickly. Open mic is essentially just Q&A. Just obviously, I imagine that people might have some questions around some things, and so I want to give everyone time to ask them. Very briefly, this is the team. Again, I need to update this photo because it's not me anymore. But this ideally is the team that will also be there on Saturday, so you get to see all of us in person. There's me, there's Lukman, Dami, and Ibuku. Lukman and Dami joined, I believe, back in 2019. Ibuku is one of our newer teammates. He joined just last year. We also have a couple of teammates who are not based in Nigeria. So Gertrude or Trudy, she's our teammate based in Ghana. And then Andrew is based in Kenya. All right. So quick product overview of some things. Paystack Commerce. Now, we'll get into the API heavy stuff later on, but Andrew felt it would also make sense if we just highlighted some other things that you can actually do with Paystack. So our Paystack Commerce tools are a set of merchant tools that make it very easy for you to get paid quickly. So you don't need to set up a website, you don't need to set up an app. Once you've signed up for Paystack account, these tools are available to you for free. And they allow you to send invoices, you can set up subscriptions for your customers, you can sell physical and digital products, and we offer a bunch of things that you can use for those. So on the right-hand side here, this is a screenshot of what our storefront product looks like. This is the page for an individual product. But basically, like you would do with Shopify or WooCommerce or any of these things, you have a bunch of products, you have the product information, the quantity, photos, etc., and you just go ahead and upload all that information to Paystack. and Paystack takes care of making it look nice for you. And then we generate links for you that you can easily share with customers who want to go ahead and pay. And so part of the reason we're highlighting this is because right now, as it works, it's the URL that you get is paystack.com/shop or paystack.shop/a slug representing your shop, right? But one request that we've heard from a lot of people is they want to essentially take that storefront that Paystack has given them, but put it on their own domain, put it on their own URL so that they can use, Genztechies.shop instead of Paystack.shop, for example. And then besides this, there's also payment pages I should highlight. So payment pages, those let you set up your one-time or recurring payments. You can collect. It's essentially, imagine like a form builder, and then you get a Paystack powered page that you can share the link with anybody and instantly get paid. And then besides that, we also have some integrations to third-party platforms. Obviously, this is the bread and butter for a lot of people. Say you've started out with a Paystack commerce store and you now want to go to the next level, and your business is getting bigger. That small tool doesn't work for you anymore. You need a more full-fledged e-commerce platform. So we've got WooCommerce, we've got Shopify, we've got Xero for invoicing, Magento. There's a Medusa.js. I don't know how many people are familiar with Medusa. I highlight it because it's an open source alternative to Shopify. And we're actually doing a developer workshop with them, I believe later in this week. So if anybody's interested in learning more about Medusa.js, you should tune into that. Check out our Twitter. There's a link there that you can use to subscribe for the session. And so, yeah, if you go to paystack.com/integrations, you can see all the integrations that Paystack has to various platforms. And we're also always accepting new integrations to that page. So if you are building an integration for a third-party platform and you want it listed so that all of Paystack's, north of 50,000 merchants can see it if they come to your site, all you have to do is submit a request to us once you've built it, and we'll go ahead and list it on the website. All right, now diving into the meat of why I'm sure we are here for the hackathon, the APIs, right? This is what most of us, I assume, are going to want to use when we're actually building for the hackathon. And so we have a few different flavors of Paystack, if you will, that you can incorporate into your apps and your websites. We have Paystack Inline, which is our simplest integration tool, I would say. So you have a simple HTML website. You want to drop in components that you can use to accept payments. Inline is your guy. Basically, you include a JS script in the bottom of your HTML page, of the body of your HTML page, and you initialize, I think it's maybe no more than 15 to 20 lines of code. You use your Paystack public key, put in any other information around the transaction that you want to collect, and then add a button to your HTML page. And just like that, anybody can come to your page, click on that button, and you get the Paystack pop-up, which is a modal that allows you securely collect a customer's payment information and complete a transaction. So, and it offers all the payment channels that you have available. So in Nigeria, we have card, we have USSD, QR, bank transfer. I hope I'm not forgetting any. I think it's those five. Those are the five primary ones that people use. And then next to that, we also have Paystack Redirect. So Redirect and Inline essentially they're both Paystack checkout options, but the difference is that Inline will load the checkout on your page. So if you don't want to redirect anybody, it will load a modal on the page, which you can use to complete your payment. With Redirect, we'll send you to a different page. Redirect is a bit more secure because with Redirect, you are initializing the transactions from your own backend. So you call the Paystack API from your server. We return a URL that you can then send to your front end and load the Paystack checkout in its own window. What this avoids is situations where anybody can tamper with the amount that you want to charge on the transaction before you're able to load it. So yeah, it's a secure method. We advocate for this for most people to use, but Inline, if you just have something quick you're trying to set up, Inline is the easier way to go. We also offer official SDKs for Android and iOS. So if you're developing on either of those platforms, there are Paystack supported SDKs that you can use to do that. Outside of that, though, we do have a healthy collection of community-built libraries. So React Native, there's an SDK for that. Flutter is an SDK for that as well. I believe there are some, is it now Xamarin or Ionic? I think some of them have like combined to be the same thing. But pretty much any, there are SDKs and third-party libraries for whatever you might be using to try and integrate. And last but not least, one of our more recent products is Paystack Terminal. So Terminal lets you accept in-person payments. And for a long time, we've only had physical terminal devices. We're now branching out into what we're calling virtual terminal as well. So virtual terminal, imagine, I'm sure, I think Burger King has it, for example. When you go to Burger King at the counter, there's like a, what do you call it? There's a stand that has a piece of paper in it. You can scan a QR code there, complete the payment on your phone. And then instead of somebody calling their madam to ask her if the payment has reflected in the bank account, they actually get the notification on their phone themselves. They get all the information of the payment, and you can just verify your transaction there and be on your way. So what we've done there is that we've provided the APIs. Virtual terminal is soon to be launched, but for the physical terminal at least, we provide the APIs that allow you to build your own applications for the device. So I can give an example. At the end of last year, during the World Cup, Battery Brewery in VI was hosting a watch party. And we actually worked with them to do something where if you used a Paystack terminal to make your payments, you get a discount. And so me and a couple members of the team, we spent a couple days just hacking together an app on the device such that all the waiters and waitresses at the restaurant would enter the amount into the app that we built instead of directly into the POS. It will calculate the discount automatically and help them process the transaction. And that's just a simple example of what you can do. If any of you have been to an event that Tix.Africa is working, they built their own custom application that they run on the devices that essentially lets them manage their events on their POS devices. So it's very, very powerful. There's a lot of stuff that you can actually build for it. And yeah, it's super exciting to see what some people have gone ahead to do there. All right. Now our developer tools. So these are, we've talked about the API, but obviously integrating directly to an API, you can be writing a lot of code. Nobody wants to be writing curl statements, using fetch and all these things that require you to write a lot of code. So we started working on developer tools that make it easier for you to test the API and build your applications. First of those being our developer documentation. I hope many of us here have been to Paystack's developer docs before. If you haven't, paystack.com/docs, check it out. Our team also works on the developer documentation. So we spend a lot of time making sure that whatever you're trying to build, whatever API you're trying to use, we have adequate documentation that helps get you started and figure out how to use the API. We also have a Postman developer workspace that we spend a lot of time on. It has a full reference of all the endpoints on the Paystack API that you can call. So it's a very, very easy way for you to get started testing whatever API calls you're trying to make. All you have to do is clone the Paystack collection, put your Paystack keys in the environment variables, and you can start making calls to the API. You can start testing out anything that you need to. And then last but not least, the Paystack OSS repo on GitHub. So this is where we house all our sample apps, all our client libraries that we've built, any tools that the Paystack team has built that basically make it easier for you to scaffold an application or start testing it. Our CLI is there as well, the Paystack CLI. It's a tool that you can use as you're building. So if you want to test things from your command line, it makes it very, very easy for you to do so. You can also use it to clone any of the repos that we have on the Paystack OSS repo. And so it just streamlines your development workflow, basically. So once I close this window, I'll go over to GitHub. I can show you guys some of what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is just more on the Postman workspace. So we put documentation there as well, so that it's super easy for you to understand how it works and to get started with using it. This is the OSS repo that I mentioned. I'll go to it in a second, but you can see here, we have sample React, sample view. So these are like simple sample apps that we've put together that you can use as like the basis of your own application that you want to build. There's the sample gift store, sample movie ticket. Food checkout is an Android application, I believe. That's like a food ordering app. So it shows you how everything works. And like I said, is a good way for you to get started. Yeah, and so I also want to highlight PaySlack, which is this link down here. PaySlack is our developer community on Slack. And so you can go to PaySlack if you need assistance with anything you're trying to build. We have some of our technical support engineers who work in PaySlack. We are also in PaySlack as well as the developer relations team. And so if you ever need assistance with anything that you're trying to do, just hop into PaySlack, drop a message in the PayStack integration channel, and somebody will be on hand to help you out. All right, so let me quickly, like I said, I'll go over to PayStack OSS. We can take a look at that a bit more. Right, so this is it, and let me zoom in a bit. So yeah, like I said, these are some of the tools that we have. The PayStack CLI that lets you test out PayStack from your command line. PayStack OpenAPI. I don't know how many people are familiar with the OpenAPI spec, but essentially it's a machine readable description of your API. And this is actually a very powerful tool for us because what it lets us do is generate our tools and documentation all from one file. So the OpenAPI file mirrors what the PayStack API looks like, right? You then use that such that you can auto-generate if it's a Node library or a Python library or a Ruby library or a PHP library. You can use that file because there are auto-generators that know how to read it and can output code for you. So not only can you use it to output SDKs or client libraries, you can actually use it to create like your actual server-side code that you want to use. So it takes, depending on how you use it, it can drastically shorten and reduce the amount of time that it takes you to go from idea to MVP. Like I mentioned, we have the PayStack Python and PayStack Node libraries. So these are two libraries that we've developed using our OpenAPI spec. Saves us a lot of time because normally, if anybody here has tried building their own client library or API wrapper, you know how involved of a process it can be. You're trying to keep up with all the endpoints that have been added, make sure that you add everyone. Using an OpenAPI spec to generate that just makes life so much easier. And then these are some of the sample applications that I mentioned that we have. So Sample React, I think that one gets a lot of hits actually. I built that one and I see the test transactions coming through my PayStack dashboard all the time. I'm surprised by how many people actually use it. Also, I want to highlight Bubble in particular. So these are just some of the plugins that we have. Like I said, you can go to the integrations directory to see them. But Bubble, I want to highlight in particular because I don't know how many people are familiar with Bubble, but it's a no-code builder that just makes it super easy for you to, again, scaffold an MVP of an application without needing to write much code. And so what we've done there is like, there are two ways that you can use PayStack with that. One is just a simple pay now button. So you add your API keys, you can add a pay now button to your applications. But we also expose a bunch of the PayStack APIs so that you can call them from within your app. So if you want to do more than just add payments, say you want to also be able to load a customer's subscriptions, you can make a call to the PayStack API using Bubble's no-code editor, and you don't have to write any actual code to go ahead and make that API call. So these are some of the tools that I think are super powerful that you can use to start building with PayStack. As I mentioned before, this is the integrations directory as well. So if you're more thinking along the lines of integrating with an existing platform or something, we have Zapier, which you can use to automate a bunch of different workflows. Bubble, like I mentioned, we have integrations to Wix, WooCommerce, Shopify, BigCommerce, and so on. And then last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, the PayStack documentation. All our information on how to use all these APIs, you can find it in here. I talked about accepting payments through pop-up, so that's inline, redirects, our mobile SDKs, the Charge API. The Charge API lets you, like, if you want to build your own custom UI and integrate to the PayStack APIs, then the Charge API is what you want. So yeah, in a nutshell, these are all the ways that I would love to see people using PayStack APIs to build some fantastic applications during the hackathon this week. Yeah, let me not talk too much. If anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Awesome. Thanks for the workshop. Quick intro to West Paystack Tolu.
No problem.
I was fast and straight to the point. Okay. I think I'm going through the live stream now. I don't know. I don't think we have any questions.
Okay.
However, someone suggested they would probably like to build the plugin for Django Python for Paystack.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, we actually have, and I can show you. So we have, we list all the libraries that, all the community built libraries that we have. Yeah. And so there's some that are written, but I always encourage people, because one thing that we do see that happens sometimes is maybe somebody wrote something 2-3 years ago before they, maybe it was their service year and they had time that year, and now they're employed and they don't have time to make Some of these do go out of date. Some people stay, regular on maintaining their client libraries. Some people let them go to dust. So I would say, yeah, if you have an idea for one that you want to build, definitely do it. We'll list it on here. And then for you personally, it's also a great way to build your own programming skill. So yeah, if you are thinking about building something for Django, definitely do it and let me know. We send out a developer newsletter at the end of every month, and I'm always trying to highlight things that have been built by the community. So yeah, if you end up doing that, let me know and I can share it through the newsletter.
Perfect. So Ibrahim, Michael, Oluwasegun, yeah, this is your call to take up the challenge and even possibly maybe make that a mini project for you to work on the plugin for Paystack library. All right, and we have another question here which just says, are you saying I can customize the Paystack terminal?
Yeah, so let me talk about terminal some more, and I'll use the documentation to help me, right? So we have a few different ways that you can integrate on Paystack terminal, and like at its core, all it is an Android device. In fact, if you hold on, I think I have one here with me.
Yeah, okay, just a sec. The person actually rephrased the question a little, and said, another way I can put the question is, are they open endpoints to build additional or customized features to Pay terminal?
To terminal. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll answer it. I'll go through. I'll start from the basics of terminal, and I'll get to the question that they've asked. So this is essentially what it looks like, right? As you can see, it's pretty much an Android device that has like an attached printer. You can put your paper in here and everything. Everybody has seen one of these at supermarket before, right? But because it's an Android device, that is what makes it so configurable. So this one is dead, but essentially when you get a Paystack terminal, all it has on it is the Paystack app, and that's what lets you process transactions. You can use that on its own, where you can enter an amount, you can insert a card, you can use bank transfer as well to pay on the terminal and complete your transaction. What these APIs that we have here now let you do is expand on that, right? So invoice payments is one. With Paystack, as I mentioned, we have our commerce tools, and the invoices essentially let you create an invoice and you send it to somebody for payment. What you can now do is when you create those invoices, there's a code that you get that you can enter on your Paystack terminal that will pull up that invoice for the customer, and then they complete their payment. So that's one way of using it. Not very configurable, just kind of straightforward, more like a regular payment. Then we now went a level deeper and we're like, okay, let's give you more flexibility with push payment requests. So what a push payment request now lets me do is, let's say I have my online site or store, or even a tab that I'm selling things on, right? So I come to you, I have my tablet, you select the items that you want to buy, and you hit checkout. You can now push that payment request to the terminal device and complete the payment on the device, right? So that's a simple API connection. You're just making a call, passing the amount to be charged, and then information like line items indicating what items the customer is paying for. Because I can also I might want to show that information on the terminal so that the person can confirm before they complete their payment. Then we went a level deeper and we're like, okay, what if you want to do more than that? Let's give you more flexibility. You can build your own custom applications that will run on the device itself. So now I don't need to have a tablet or computer that I'm using to push something to the device. I can do everything on the device itself, right? And the device is internet connected, so I can have an application that allows me essentially that store that I said I'm running on a tablet and I'm taking payments on the device, I can just do everything on the device itself. I can load the items that I want to sell. You can click on one and complete your payment on the device entirely. Another option is, and this is kind of getting into custom forms territory, but let's say I want you to, let's say you're a repeat customer at my store or something, right? And you have a certain order that you refill every 2 weeks or something. You come in, you give me your phone number or your email address. I enter it on the device. It makes an API call to my backend server, pulls up your information. You can verify the information on the device and complete your payment there. So pretty much, if you can dream it, you can build it with Paystack Terminal. Yeah, either via a custom app or a custom form, whatever it might be. One use case for custom forms that we're seeing a lot is airlines want to be able to do things like, let's say, a customer enters their PNR, which is like, I think, your passenger name record, right? So you enter that, the airline now makes a call to their backend, pulls up the booking info for your flight. You can view it on the terminal, confirm everything is correct, hit pay, and then insert your card to make your payment or whatever it might be. So yeah, all these things are possible with Terminal.
Nice,
Yeah.
gotcha. And the terminal API docs is open for the participants as well.
Yeah, Terminal API docs are open. The difficulty with Terminal, I will say though, is if you are say if you have an idea that you want to build with Terminal, I would say reach out to me because unfortunately, because it's physical devices, it's a bit more difficult to work with. You have to get the device to the person and everything. But if you have an idea for something to build, you can reach out and we can see what we can do if we can make it happen. It may be difficult for you to test on your own, but maybe perhaps as the hackathon is going on or on the day of the actual event, we can see if we can configure things such that you'll be able to test. But yeah, if you have some ideas, like I said, reach out to me. You can email me, tolu@paystack.com, or you can reach out to us on Payslack so we can talk some more about it as well.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have two more questions, bunch of questions here. It says, I want to be able to use the API to get products in a product page, but it isn't available through the API.
API. Okay, let's take a look. I'm on here right now. Products. When you say a product page, I'm okay. Maybe you're talking about a
The
storefront.
store.
Yeah, which I now see is not here, but I think it's available in our. I'll check our Postman collection as well, because I want to say that it's available there.
Okay, that
Yeah,
works. That works. All
I'll
right,
check
then
that
the next,
later.
yeah, but the next question is, I'm a beginner front end web developer. I don't really know about API, but you mentioned inputting some JavaScript code at the end of our HTML code. Is that all that? Is that all, or there is need for some backend stuff to integrate with Paystack?
Yeah. So no need for backend stuff. I'll go and show it again. Where is it? Hey,
Sorry.
man.
Oh, if I may, do you have a live? Do you have a demo of the what do you call it again? Of the application that you don't need backend, so they can have an idea what you're talking about.
Sure. Let me go to Code Sandbox actually, because I think I have one.
I think that's the React one you mentioned, right?
Yeah, so React is the same thing. Yeah, you won't need a backend for that. But even if you're not using any frameworks and you just want to do regular HTML, this is an HTML demo that I've set up. You can see all the code that I've written here. So I just put it as one file instead of separating it into another JS file. This is
Are you
the
sharing you're sharing the doc only right now?
oh wow, sorry. Did it open in a different it opened in a different page. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Let me switch this share. All right. We can see Code Sandbox now, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you can see this is just an HTML file. This is the JS script that I include for inline JS. And then I have some configurations that I've done here. I wanted to make a demo page so that you could test for any country that we're in. So I added some config here. And then I have some JS code just to make sure that when somebody selects the button, and clicks on it, there's an event listener that fires and it loads the Paystack checkout. So this is all HTML and JavaScript. There's no need for a backend server for any of this. And you can get it done just like that. I can share a link to this in the chat.
Gotcha. Perfect. Perfect. And I think the last question we have for now is how do I test a customer feature? Oh yeah, okay. I think you already answered that.
Yeah,
The
that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, if you do have something that you're trying to build for that, reach out to me. I can see what I can set up. Unfortunately, it's a short window, so I don't know that we'd be able to send a device to you to be able to test. But my team does have some test devices. So what we can probably do is like set up a call, maybe have you send the app to us, we load it on the device, and we can do like a screen share, pair programming thing, and test it out together.
perfect. Okay, I guess that would it for now. So
Okay.
it's up to participants to start hacking. And just like a fun fact, we're actually working like internally. We'll be building like our mini merch store, like Paystack shops. Yeah, that's something we'll be doing very soon. And it'd be great to get integrated with Paystack for that. I think Tolu is disconnected. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So that's it from Paystack. We've just completed the workshop, which is kind of talking about. Okay, Tolu, you back?
Yeah, sorry, my internet dropped out for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, gotcha. All right, guys. So we've just had the workshop with Paystack. So yeah, feel free to work with the APIs. Build up something amazing. Have some payments in there. Paystack is definitely enabling this, and they are really good at doing that. So I guess everybody should have fun, which is kind of like our core, the core of the hackathon, to have fun building, whatever you really want to build, and thinking out of the boundaries. The phenomenon, are you there?
Hola,
Hello?
hola. I'm still yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, do you want to round up?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for joining, guys. And we are really excited to see what you will build and achieve. We are rooting for you as much as possible. As much as possible that you want to build crazy stuff. Just have fun. Don't overthink everything. Like, funny enough, it could just be just submit anything you have. It could just be a working demo or something. It doesn't have to be very complicated. Just submit whatever you have. And thank you so much for our sponsors from Paystack to Vercel, um, Quine, and all of them for making this event happen. And you know, after this stream, we'll share the recording with the guys that are not live, they're not watching live right now. And yeah, team money as well. So thanks so much for joining, guys. And hopefully, if you want to engage with Paystack, they have an exhibition booth at the conference, which is happening this weekend on Saturday. And Tolu is there if you want to connect with Paystack stuff. And there's lots of swag, merch, those kind of things. I know Gen Zs, you guys like those things. So hope to see all of you at Gen Z HackFest. And if you see me there, put money in my pocket, I'll give you swag. That's how we roll here. I'm actually joking, but there's swag, there's everything. And I don't know, Tunji, can you quickly talk about how the people have to submit their projects? Because I know a lot of people have been asking these questions. And I think we talked about this during the Twitter space, but people just keep asking, how do I submit? I think you
Okay.
should worry about building, not even submitting, but some people are just worried already. So, Tunji, can you please talk about that?
Yeah, give me a second. Give me a second, please. Just give me a minute.
Okay, so Tunji, we don't really have much time. I'll just take it over. So
Yeah,
Do you,
yeah.
do you want,
Take time.
do you
project
want me to
submission
help with that?
is done via a Google form. So you basically, it's just a simple Google form, nothing complicated. You talk about what you build, you share info regarding your teammates, and we would actually communicate this ahead. So this is about to share a screen. So this is what it looks like. It is very simple. So it's just a simple form. So we don't want to complicate things by using platforms like DevPost or the other where you have to create accounts. Yeah, you just like you can send the Figma link. But all projects have to be open source. You have to be open source. Either use GitHub or GitLab or anything you use. Just make it open source. And I know some people worry about pitch decks and oh, this is not a startup pitch competition. It is fine to create a pitch deck. It's not bad, but you can also create it. I think the pitch decks will be more useful for the presentation for the finalists, not for all attendees. So don't worry much about that. Just focus on building. And we're really excited to see what you would ship, build, and launch. Have fun, and everything does not stop at the hackathon. You see, last year, some of the projects went on to become companies, and some of the guys are now working for international companies. Some of them have been acquired for thousands of dollars. Like, everything is just way beyond the hackathon. And I don't really know if some of my guys here have anything to add, but I think that's all from me from now.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, you've said everything. Yeah, thanks for that roundup. The phenomenal. Just to like kind of reiterate the flow of how projects would work, we would so it's kind of going to go through audit stage one, right? So later tonight, keep an eye out for a link in your emails, which is just going to get like your team members, your team name, and like what you're working on. Then later on Wednesday, there will be a audit stage whereby everybody or all the teams would have a one-on-one session with some of the hacker team members, to kind of just talk about what you're building, and we'll do some form of evaluation. And then this way, we're going to shortlist a few, I think 6 people, who would then come to present at the conference. What they are building, and we'll definitely like reach out to you. And then on Thursday, we're going to have like the live presentation as well, which you kind of already take a lower number of shortlisted people. And yeah, so essentially just have fun. Keep an eye out for your emails. If you need like any support, feel free to join the Slack channel. If you need support from Paystack, you can join our Slack channel or join the Paystack support channel. If you need any support from Chimoni as well, they have like their support information all on the hackathon guide. So once again, remember to have fun.
Yeah,
It's all about having
before
fun.
you end it, I know two people just asked questions, and I want to quickly go over one of the questions. So
Okay,
someone
sure.
said, "What's the reward for bidding with Paystack?" That is already in the hackathon guide. And the other thing question was that I think this is for Tolu directly. So if someone is saying, "Is Paystack hiring?" Are you guys interested in Paystack?
Okay, yeah, so let's stay on call.
Yeah, I'm still here. For software developer positions, I'm not sure if teams are hiring at the moment. I can put the word out, and if you'll be at the conference on Saturday, come and find me and we can talk about it.
Or my best
I'm
recommendation
available.
for you is just make a YouTube video. You see when Shola made a video, he said, "I just want to build products." Make something like that and spam
Yeah.
Shola. Maybe you will reply. Tell him I just want to build products.
Exactly.
Anyways, thank you so much, guys.
All right. Thanks
Right.
for having me, guys. It was great.
Yeah, thanks, Tolu. All right, bye.